my whole thing was like, listen, when I was approached with it, I was just like, yo, man, like, this is a bipartisan issue.
Yeah.
And I said, like, one of my friends said, like, man, as a black man, I'm fighting every day. I don't want to get in a fight behind this because it's bipartisan. This is left, right. This is everybody. This is going to benefit society. And so that's what I'm doing is like, man, I put the politics aside because the politics are not my cup of tea, but I will push this plant forward. And hopefully we had some good calls, man, last week. Really good calls with people that are close to, like the individuals I said, people that are close to the Trump family. And one of the guys is Weldon Angelos. I'll send you guys his link.
Okay.
He was a guy that got busted with like a pound of weed, and they gave him like 55 years.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, but everybody came together to get him out, and Trump pardoned him.
Okay.
And the Koch brothers are extreme right.
Right. Yeah.
George Soros, extreme left.
Yeah.
They all came together. Mike Lee out of Utah, extreme right. Cory Booker left up. They all came together. It's all in the documentary, and he's close with all of them. And Trump loves them. And there's something I really can't say, but there's something that we're all trying to do to say, Trump, you said on the campaign trail, we want to thank you, this, that, and the other. Keep your promise.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's hard, man, to get, cannabis financing.
Yeah.
If we get banking, the floodgates are open.
Yeah.
For real.
That's a cool thing about here in New York.
It's going to bring in so much money from Wall Street.
Yeah, there's some banking here in New York. There's some banks out there that are getting into
credit unions a little bit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like they're trying to pave the way.
Shout out to Suffolk Credit. Yeah, we work work with them because they help us within having that banking.
Yeah, it legitimizes you. You know what I mean? And that's what this needs to be.
Indigenous,
Yeah.
And so I'm like one of those refugees. I've been kicked out. I had a relationship with Bank of America for like 30-something years. I got kicked out them in like 2017. I got kicked out of Wells Fargo. Now I'm at a little credit union and my mom's credit union.
Hey, man, if that's the ones to take the money.
And I'm just like saying, "Low, man." I don't tell them like what I do, whatever, and I try to like put my NFL checks in there so they'll see that, or whatever. But
it's hard though.
That's the other thing, man, that we talk about, man. It's just like even like New York is done because you can write some about, but that 280, man, you can't write anything off. You see what I'm saying? So we're trying to get this thing and normalize and let's take the next step with this plant, man.
Exactly. That's all it is. You need to progressiveness. You got to move forward, especially with like such a thing where we're all very, at least New York, I should say, is new to cannabis itself, So we need to be doing it the right way.
We need to get ahead of it. You know what I mean? See the mistakes that are being made and progress
see what everybody else made.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because I think like if New York does it right, and I know the guy that helped write the law, he made it so mom and pops can stay in business and the MSOs don't come in here with any superstores
and take it over and put
20,000 square foot
full of nothing.
Exactly. Emporium. Kill the prices. Kill the competition.
That's
that Walmart.
They're trying.
Listen,
trust me, I know. They're licensing. They're lobbying for it. People are trying. And hopefully, again, we can just establish ourselves.
It's definitely happening.
Other smaller businesses can establish themselves.
Trying to start chain restaurant style.
Well, I mean, they were good. I feel like New York, the one thing that they were good about it is in trying to stop that is they made it almost like the liquor licensing, where you can't hold more than one business under a license. You know what I mean? Trying to stop it from being monopolized by big corporations. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's the last thing we need.
There's a couple that's already doing that.
Costco of weed like that.
That's what they want.
You know what I mean?
But that's not good for. And this plant's for the people.
It's for the people, and that's really what we like hold dear and close to.
Don't corporate this plant.
It's not meant, and honestly, in some ways, the plant is not meant to be in a bag. Yeah. It's meant to just be out and with the people. Yeah. You know, it was grown like
always
that.
Has been. Always
exactly. You know, people like to, see green, the other type of green. that's connected to it.
That's
exactly.
When you put that green before people, you're supposed to put the people first.
The greed.
You know what I'm saying? So everything that I say is like, whenever I'm talking about this plant and business, you know, everybody wants to show me their deck and
Right.
this, that, and the other. But if I like it, I get that part. But I always say, man, this is so good. We're going to help a lot of people. Remember, it's the people first.
It's
And
the
that's
people
why
first.
the little conversation we just had out there said, I'm trying to build something for myself that's, you know, that has meaning behind it, because there is a lot in the market, and trying to pitch out and get a brand into a store to get people to back it. Like, there's a lot out there, you know what I mean? Like, no, like I want something that's a good product. I want something that has a meaning behind it. I want something that's trying to help people and has benefits, you know what I mean? More than just monetarily, you know what I mean? I
You
think
can do
that's
you
a
can
big
do a
thing
lot,
behind
man.
it.
That's why I said, man, like New York, and I tell these cats, man, just put like 10% back into your community. Put it on your block.
Yeah.
Put it on your block, because you're going to make sure that your block is safe.
Was eating.
You know, instead of coming here like a big MSO or somebody coming here that don't look like you, and you're in this neighborhood,
Trying to
and they
capitalize.
open from, you know, from 10 to 9, and then they're going to shut up, and then they're going to go back and take that money and take it to their neighborhood. You're keeping it right here, man.
Yeah.
You can sponsor, so you can sponsor the youth, the elders, renovate buildings, and making sure that your block, and then that block is going to turn into 3 blocks
Community.
and 4
And
and
that's
a
how
community.
that's how you build. And that's,
And we've done that
that's
here.
hopefully the goal. And
We've done that here already.
Yeah,
We've built, we've redone people's houses already, roofs.
Yeah.
Our next door neighbor, you know, we do a 4% tax back to the tribe.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We do it all, and we'll definitely dive into a lot of that, because, you know, it's important to what I was telling you about before yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, downstairs, about just like finding those people that support your same cause and who you're doing it for and everything like that across the board. All right, everybody. It's Keeping Up with the Budz. We're back here again with another episode, a special one, a very special one. Kind of close to, you know, the Long Island heads around here. A lot of you you sports fans, you know, y'all love y'all Jets out here in New York, you know. That's who y'all rock with. Me personally, a Charger fan. Sue me. It is what it is.
Saints fan,
but we
you know.
out here, especially, you know. We're keeping it up with the Budz, man. I got my boy Sean. Y'all know him. Y'all know that guy. Y'all know what it is. And our special guest here today, everybody. Our special guest here today is Mr. Marvin Washington. Everybody give it a good old snapperoo, clapperoo, you know what I'm talking about? And, you know, we want to talk about, you know, who he is, what he does, where he's at, you know, and his life, and, you know, cannabis, man. This love, this plant, this thing that we share so close to us, everything that just brought us here together, you know what I mean? Not only like the love and the support around it, but the meaning of what it actually is, and not what it's perceived outside of, you know, your certain circles or with your groups, you know. So I'm glad to say that we have people with alliance, the people who, you know, understand and fight for the people who are really trying to do it. You know, and I'm glad to say that we have Mr. Marvin Washington here on the set of Keeping Up with the Budz, baby. Let's go.
champion.
You know what I'm talking about?
In the building.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Super Bowl champ, dog. All right, let's get into it.
All right. So starting out with, again, just some of the early years in your life. We're getting a little bit to know you. Were a two-sport athlete, I see, when you were young. So basketball, football, what was that like? I see Idaho University, two-sport athlete. What one do you think was easier? What came easier to you, more natural? And how did that progress throughout your life?
Well, first of all, I want to say, hey, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
this
coming
looks
here.
like it's going to be fun, and
Absolutely.
you guys have really good energy. So I look forward to, you know, to this whole thing. And the thing is about my sports journey was like, kids today, like, they try to specialize, you know, in one sport, and they get the personal trainers, and they play basketball from the age of 5 or 6 all the way until high school, and they do it in football, particularly in baseball and hockey. But when I grew up, in, you know, I'm Generation X. I grew up in the '70s. We played everything. We played everything outside.
That's a
we
fact.
played
True
everything
athletes.
from baseball to basketball to football to kickball
Athlete.
to whatever it was. We played it. And when I got into junior high, that's when I first started playing organized sports. I did all that too. You know,
Yep.
I ran track. I even tried to play soccer. I played basketball and football, and so that's what being an athlete was to
The
me, and not
athlete
trying
is
to be
an athlete.
specialized. Yeah.
Yes,
And
an
then so when
athlete
I
is an
got to high
athlete.
school, basketball became dominant for me, you know, because I was taller than everybody else and what have you.
I know
and
you
just
get put in that category already. Like,
Yeah.
he could probably dunk.
Yeah. And it was inside climate control.
There we go.
You know, in Texas in August it gets hot.
Oh, that's a
And
fact.
so I chose basketball, and I got a basketball scholarship to go to University of Texas El Paso.
Okay.
And I was there with Don Haskins, and the movie was made about his life and his team, the 66 in Glory Road.
Yeah.
He was the first guy to play all 5 blacks on the court at the time, because at that time during the 60s, you had 2 blacks at home, 3 on the road if you wanted to win. But he was the first guy that did it. And he beat Adolph Ruff, who was a legendary coach, who was a man of his times.
Absolutely.
And I played for him for 2 years. And then the guy that recruited me there, Tim Floyd, he got the job at Idaho. And he was telling me, he was like, Marv, you're big enough to play football, you know? And he says, you don't want to be like 40 years old, 50 years old, sitting on the couch drinking beer and looking at an NFL game and saying, I could have done that. Because I had all my friends, like high school contemporary and teammates, they were playing at Miami, Texas A&M, USC. And I was seeing them, and I was like, but they're no better athletes than me.
Yeah,
And I was 6'6", 235 pounds.
Okay.
And the
stocky.
But that was like, for basketball, that was stocky.
That was stocky.
In the SEC for football, that would have been skinny. But I wasn't in the SEC.
True that.
I was in the Big Sky. And the linemen were about 260, 270.
You're like that. That's
so I could run around, whatever.
Move
and
a
I made I got taught to play football the right way, fundamentally the right way.
Absolutely.
Because like with basketball, and kids develop bad habits. I didn't develop any bad habits, and I was lucky enough to set, the senior year to set the school sack record. We had a really good team, and I was fortunate enough to get drafted. And then the rest is history. I went on to have like a 11-year career in the NFL. I won a Super Bowl.
Unheard of for a defensive player.
And I will say this, is that I grew up in New York City. It made me a man.
Okay.
Yes,
and sir.
I absolutely love it up here, man, because you can travel through your stomach to any parts of the world.
For real.
It
taught you how to really survive anywhere. You could really go. I could go anywhere as a New Yorker, also born in the Bronx. I was born in the Bronx, man. So shout out to the BX always, But I felt as though when I grew up in the Bronx and learning survival skills and learning where to like heightened danger, your awareness level.
You know what I mean?
I pick up on things where I look around. I was like, I'm either gonna walk around that way, or I see them arguing over there. That doesn't look good. Like, I'm gonna make sure no one gets hurt, but I'm gonna do it from a distance for the time being. You know what I mean? Like, or just you're able to just be a little bit more aware, and then you take that and you amplify that to wherever else you may go. Like when we went out to, were you with us when we went to Denver? Arizona.
For Julius's fight. Shout out Julius Anglicus.
Shout out Julius. That's our boy. He's an MMA fighter. For sure. And my boy Nico Getling. He's got a fight coming up. You know what I'm talking about.
Let's get it. Long Island strong.
That was like when Kamari dipped off, and I was like, he dipped off. It's a group of us, a group of guys. We're all together. We're here to see a fight. You know what I'm talking about? And then homeboy meets up with a shorty that he don't know, just linking off the dating site.
Hours.
And I'm just like,
doing Kamari.
I'm just like, yo, what are you doing? Doesn't tell anybody. Phone dies. You know what I mean? Typical Kamari story. But I'm the opposite of that. I'm like, awareness. Nah, one of y'all coming with me actually when I go up for this trip.
You know what? It's called like that urban intuition.
That
you have.
Yes.
And it travels with you no matter where you are, whether you're in country or out of country, because you can spot stuff, man, because you have to. But particularly if you grew up in the Bronx, man, the boogie down Bronx, you have to have them antennas and the spidey senses that's going off, man.
Anything can happen in a New York minute, man. It's always been said, y'all know the lingo. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what's up. I love to hear the transition of where you kind of like took that. You know what I'm saying? You had the when
they were like, football, this should be an
Yeah.
opportunity, and you got that opportunity to step into that. Like,
what
was that switch like?
switch?
That,
Yeah, like
I'm
what
going to do this
happened?
professionally now. Like,
You
this is a
know,
goal.
Because that's the two different
Actually,
things.
I
You know?
was like, like I said, I did my thing in basketball in high school. I was doing it in college somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I made that switch, I actually thought I was failing. It took me a couple days to process, like going over, because it's like, man, I failed at this and whatever. And I was like, man, I'm out here, and I didn't know if I could play football or not.
Right.
Yeah.
You just in there.
Yeah, you were just
whatever.
like, all right, I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah,
Step into
but
it.
you know what? I knew I was going to go out there with my mentality was like, man, I wasn't going to let anybody push me around, and I was going to compete.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you said, fundamentals. You had
And
that already.
fundamentals, and my coaches taught me from my stance to footwork to whatever the right way to do it, and I did it with repetition.
For sure.
Extra reps,
Fundamentals is
extra practice, and by the end of the spring practice, I was a starter.
key. Yeah.
At University of Idaho, they had a pretty good team, and then I went into the season and just doing things right, doing things right through practice and repetition, and I felt like I was a football player now, and then the next step for me was like, can I play at the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anybody that while you were making this incline of understanding yourself as like, I'm falling into NFL, like I'm falling into this prime football player, was there anyone on your teams or anyone as you moved up into the college level and such that was like, let me help you tweak out whatever, you know what I mean? Was there people like to say like, yo man, you're looking good, like, or sharpen up, or like
that was my coaches and my teammates who I am still in contact with to this day.
That's awesome, man. That's
and
important.
It's been 30-something years.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, in this life journey, we're all on a journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are roads or obstacles or mountains that we can't get over, so we get some help.
Support.
Exactly.
And those are the people that helped me. And gave me the confidence and told me that I could do it, because they believed in me sometimes when I didn't believe in myself.
For sure.
But you need that in life, man. I realized, because we're put on this earth, man, to help each other. And the people that helped me, I'm very grateful for, and I showed gratitude with them. And these are, I was a kid, they were men, and now we're all men, and I still stay in contact with them. My teammates, I still stay in contact with them. They have kids, and it's beautiful to see the evolution of that, for them having kids, and they're good kids, man. They're graduating college, they're getting good jobs. It's just amazing.
Infrastructure is great. I love that. So that moment of like, now you're in college, right? You're moving into that field, and it's getting a little bit more serious. What was the moment where it switched, where like, I could be drafted? Like, how did that feel? And then when you were drafted, you know what I mean? How did that, like, that's always a surreal moment.
That revelation
and
started
how old
coming
were
to
you?
me. Well, I was about 21.
Okay.
That revelation started coming to me in the middle of the football season, because pro scouts were starting to come and watch me.
You started to notice the eyes.
After the season, I didn't get invited to the combine.
Okay.
But so University of Idaho's here, and Washington State is 6 miles away.
Right.
They had a left tackle that was going to go top 10 in the draft, and he did.
And you knew it. Yeah.
So when the scouts would come to see him, they would hear about, hey, there's a kid over at Idaho. You need to check.
Let's go pick him out.
Over,
So
I
had like 22 teams that came and checked me out, and
Okay.
so I would tell all my teammates, like, yo, so and so's coming, Washington's coming, Cincinnati's coming, and they would work out. And there was 3 of us that had pro careers.
I love
and
that.
if you listen to Mark Schiller from ESPN, he'll tell you the story. Like, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have a pro career, because every time I had a pro workout, I'd pick up the phone.
Let's get it.
Who can I get it with?
Let's
You know,
get locked in. Yeah, let's get locked in. We move up
Come on
together.
in and let's work out. And then the other kid went to Cincinnati. My boy,
It's important, man.
from
The Budz.
Yeah, it's friends, man. I've always done that, man. Loyalty is something that I'm big about.
Absolutely.
If you have my back, I have yours. And let me say this, I've been burned a few times with that.
It happens, of course.
But the whole thing is,
I extended my hand too far for you.
yeah, but I can't treat you like you treat me, because universe
can't let
won't
that
let
change
me.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't let that
Yeah,
change you.
you
You
can't
know
let
what I
it
mean?
change
And
you.
you just got to go
100%.
about it.
You
You know
can't
what I
let it
mean?
change
You got to,
you.
when people
No
give you
matter
your
how
word.
what happens, man, you can't stoop to their level,
Exactly.
and you cannot like try to be like them and say, "Oh, that's the way we planned."
Yeah.
No, you play the way your moral compass
Yeah. Legit. I always tell
lets
people,
you, and the universe lets you play.
you know, you try to do something with somebody, and when they give you your word and they say that you're going to do it, you just got to take it for their word and hope that it works out and keep it in good faith that you're stepping to that, you know, with the right intentions. And, you know, that's how you got to go into situations.
Yeah,
Man, you guys are in cannabis, and you guys. There's been some like this is the next evolution of cannabis because the whole thing with cannabis was I'm very respectful of everything that happened west of the Mississippi, Arizona, Oregon, Nevada, state of Washington, but those 4 states that I mentioned, they're not even bigger than Brooklyn in totality.
that's a fact.
Now you come up here in Atlantic states, now you get the action that's going to happen. And it's going to happen
The
with
real
the people.
circulation of
It's going to
money and
help
wealth.
the people. It's going to help everybody instead of being
circle.
weighed out with the majority where it is out there. Here, it's everybody.
It's a shared platform.
You know? And so the whole thing is, I think I kind of told you off camera, is like the only thing I want to work with is good people.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're good people,
You
because I've
keep
worked
that
with the
circle,
clowns,
that
I've worked with the
synergy.
liars, I've worked with the scammers,
Yeah.
I've worked with the fraudsters, I've worked with, you know, people that were supposed to have my back and they didn't, and whatever. But you know what?
Y'all bozos.
Facts.
The
Not
bozos.
Slouches. A
Y'all
bunch
not
of slouches.
Yeah, facts.
But you know what? The whole thing is with that is like it's a lesson.
Yeah,
and everything
it
in life
is.
is a lesson.
Exactly.
Good or bad, whether it's the good or bad experience,
You got to
it's a
take something
lesson.
from it. Yeah.
You peel that layer off, you know.
Peel it off.
It's a Band-Aid, you know. It'll heal. You know,
It'll
you'll deal with
heal.
it. Hopefully it's not so devastational to your life and things like that. But there's always a brighter day. There's always the next day. And I appreciate that, like that level-headedness of being able to be like, you know, like how you said, like I don't need to my karma. I have to make sure that's always moving up. My glass is being filled in abundance, but the right way.
Yeah,
you know, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And with all right, so that's dope. I love that. So with you basically now moving into being drafted, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We in the NFL now. We ain't here.
But
I wouldn't say that.
but
I still have to make the team, baby.
You still got to make the team. Being picked by the Jets, the New York Jets, man, and being from in the area, right? You were
I'm from Texas.
You were from Texas,
from Colorado.
But all right. So then the reception to being picked up into the New York Jets. How is that? Because we're tough out here, man.
But you know what?
New York sports is hard.
Here's the thing.
New York teams.
You know what? Here's the thing. I was like an avid reader. And I read so many books, like paperback books.
Yes.
Like Earl, the GOAT Montague, the guy that had the 50-inch vertical up in Harlem in the Rucker Park. And reading them books about New York and seeing the movies about New York. I had never been to New York, but I always wanted to go. I always wanted to come here.
There we go.
Everybody.
So this was like, it was like, man, and I even tell people now, like, I got cousins and stuff, and they tell, man, when you get your little house in the Prairie and come back south. It's like, man, I ain't never coming back south.
I like it too much.
I come visit. I come say, hey.
There's too much energy up here, man. There's too much whatever. And as I said, I grew up here, man, and to come up here, it was an opportunity of a lifetime, and I took advantage of it because I think I grew up as a man in New York as far as knowing what I like, what I didn't like.
Right.
Being tough.
Yeah.
You know, New Yorkers are tougher.
Yeah.
They're helpful.
Yeah.
They're not nice. But they're helpful. They help you out.
If you need it.
If you need it. You know, but they're not nice.
No, you got to come the right way.
And I get all that, man. But it's like, I just love it up here, man. And, you know, once I got drafted and I came up here, it was a matter of making the team, put my head down.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was going to make the team until the last preseason game. And then outside of that, it was being a pro. You know, it was being a pro, showing up on time.
Yeah.
Doing
That's
your
something
job,
they look for, professionalism.
You know, not being in trouble, partying. I always say, like, if you're going to have fun and whatever, do it at a professional level. Because the thing is, it's like never throw that ball so far out over the fence that you can't retrieve it anymore.
Yeah. I gotta go get that. I gotta go over there.
And then your job.
For real. There's a lot
you got to show up at the job with that ball.
There's
So
a good amount of people who probably should have listened to that advice.
Man, that's in life.
Yeah, no, that's everything.
But
man.
I've seen guys, man. It's just like, man, you letting the city eat you up.
Yeah,
you know, and your priority is football because everything that city offers you, you won't have it because of football. And I realized that. You know, getting cutting the line at the clubs, or getting a nice table at a restaurant, or getting discounts and stuff and whatever. That came from football. So that should be the priority, you know. And the whole thing is put, God first, family second, and then your career third. You know, guys get that messed up.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
absolutely.
Even I had it messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was putting football first, man. This is like this is supplying all this, and I'm doing stuff that I never have an opportunity to do or whatever. I have my priorities right now. But for that point, but like I said, man, it's being a professional football player. And I think that's why I played a long time because, the average football year is 3.5 years.
That's
career.
Facts, man.
You done tripled that.
I done tripled that because I showed up on time
time.
and they could rely on me.
Healthiness.
I was going to do my job. They didn't have to worry about, laying in bed at 2 a.m. getting a call
And
from
that gets
Marvin.
you. That gets no, it does. That keeps the career going. And through that career, was it 40 career sacks? 40?
40 something.
46, I believe.
Who was your favorite quarterback to sack? Who was that guy who you saw the hole open? You're like, oh, there's my. Like, there he is. There he is.
But you know what? We played the Dolphins and Dan Marino, Hall of Famer or whatever. I had some pretty good success with him. And but the guy I was going against, Richmond Webb, he went to high school in Dallas. And my then wife, they went to church together. So I knew Richmond. And it was just like to compete, man. And go against them and what have you.
It's moments out there. You know what I mean?
Those are the ones and be like, yo, damn, we made it, yo.
Yeah.
We made it. And then
you look at a guy from home on that big stage and say that.
That's the good part is after the game, you see people from your hometown.
Yeah.
I like seeing that.
Man,
that's what's up.
We made it.
That's what's up.
I love seeing that when their old alma maters, they meet up with each other, but especially even with teams who they already made it onto a team or they got picked for or drafted to another team. And then they happen to see each other or were on the same team with each other.
That's
when trades happen, because your
just
career
knowing that conversation, your friendship is still there. It's not like, oh man, you're on the opposite side now. It's like, nah, we still text each other. We still talk.
Still brothers.
We still talk, man. And
the
thing is, as I became
still
a vet,
go to the club.
Yeah. So the thing is, I became a vet, and I see young guys, and we be going back to their hometown. I'll be like, man, get your suit. Let your mother know that you're a professional now. You're taking it serious and whatever.
That's cool.
Even if you wasn't, but make
in
her
that moment,
like,
in that
she's
moment,
gonna be proud of
keep the jumpsuit in the bag.
Yeah.
No, that's dope though, and that's cool to kind of instill that in the generations underneath you. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Giving back and keeping everything going.
With that, can I say that the Dolphins were probably one of your toughest teams to play?
Yeah, always.
You know what I mean? There was a hidden rivalry between that.
Until this day, if you look at the Dolphins and the Jets, records don't matter.
That's there. That's there.
They go at it. And so
they got
hopefully,
everlasting beef.
The Jets can get some wins around here, man. They got my ex-teammate as a head coach now.
And some moves.
Yeah, he's a leader of men. He's gonna lead this team.
Yeah,
if they get out of his way. If they get out of his way,
you gotta let the guy fly, man. You gotta let it.
You gotta let him fly. You gotta let him fly.
Yeah, because it's just like not really when there's too many chefs in the kitchen, man. It really trickles down and messes up the team.
Yeah,
the whole mission of the story.
You gotta have respect for people and what they do, the positions that they're in. You know what I mean?
And why you hire them?
Why you hire
everyone's
them?
professional here for a reason. You know what I mean? You gotta respect that.
Absolutely. And
it don't seem like somebody was doing that. So,
listen, I can't talk, man.
I can say it don't seem like somebody was doing that.
My Chargers team, man, we do the most, bro. We get there, we'll get to the show, and then we'll get beat up by a little whippersnapper every single time.
But y'all gonna have some success now. You guys got a good coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got
Yeah.
Harbaugh,
That's
man.
Harbaugh, man.
He's going to get you to the promised land.
Absolutely. We just got to capitalize. And I think that has to also go with, I don't know if y'all just saw, but we just traded Joey.
Yeah.
Or well, at least released
them.
them. And it's just like, oh my God. And like, unfortunately, injuries, injuries plague, so my thought on this, right, is with cannabis, right, being such a thing that shows that it's good for your body, it's good for your, properties. There's certain aspects to this plant that is medicinal, that helps, especially an athlete, you know. What's your take on them, the NFL opening up more consumption for athletes or just CBD, things like that? Like,
you know what? They made progress.
Yeah.
They raised the level that you can test positive.
Yeah.
I think they raised it to the WADA level, World's Anti-Doping Association's level. And then they stopped finding and suspending guys for testing positive for cannabis.
Like
that hurt a lot of people's careers.
That hurt a lot of people. That hurt a
and
lot of careers. It humiliated a lot of guys. Can you imagine, like, you test positive and behind you is your whole family.
Yeah,
they gotta see, like, yo.
And for something as simple as cannabis, you know what I mean? For people trying to use it for medicinal purposes and medicinal reasons, and like
how silly it is in about 10 years when a stadium's going to be named after a cannabis company.
For sure,
right? They're going to have just like they did with gambling.
So
if you're going to do the sin,
it's a liquor sponsorship or something like that, you know what I mean?
They're already there. And cannabis, it causes the least harm, man. And the thing with me is, athletes take so many opiates and benzodiazepines, starting at high school, college, and by the time you get to the pros, it's old hat.
It's part of the general norm.
So take it like I injured my elbow the other day, but the doctor tried to give me some Naprosyn. I was like, man, I don't want that.
I don't need that.
I've been chewing them. I chewed on those things for 11 years. I was like, I'm
good.
I'm trying to be cool now.
I'm not working that hard. I'm not doing it.
But saying that, guys know, like, if I was like to get hurt, or even when I was hurt, I was telling the doctor about the medicine. Because I've had 11 surgeries or whatever.
You knew already. I'm not new to this.
Guys know what to take, the painkillers and what have you. But here's the issue is, if you take it from July to February and you take it, extrapolate over a career like mine, like 11 years, and then I retire and I'm just supposed to cut it off, guys don't cut it off.
Dependent on it now.
They're still dependent.
It becomes part of their everyday life.
So I know for a fact that the NFLPA, Players Association, they get calls from ex-players, wives and girlfriends. They talk about the CTE and we'll talk about that with cannabis. But the biggest deal is the opiate addiction.
I could imagine.
And former NFL players were 3 times more likely to abuse and be addicted to opiates than general society.
Of course.
And general society is
look what you guys do to your bodies every day.
Especially because of your actual body itself. You take more, you're able to hold more. So sometimes it might not even feel like that's working for you. That medicine might not be working for them, I should say. And then they end up overdoing it, and then that becomes, now they're hooked on that feeling that may be too much prescribed, right? And then now I'm addicted to it, and there's some good doctors out there, but man, you bozo doctors who are just writing out stuff just for somebody to just I
feel like there's still such a stigma around cannabis when it comes to the medicinal side of it. And you know what I mean? With that stigma around it and the ideas, it's hard for doctors to use that as an avenue or almost suggest that as an avenue.
But they need to.
They definitely need to. No, they do.
Because before the Sackler family came along and these opiate companies came along in the 50s, cannabis was the most prescribed medicine that the Americans doctors were prescribing in whatever form they were prescribing it in. And, we'll talk about it later on, what I'm doing with Leafwell, but, get with a cannabis doctor and get, like, if you have an acute pain, like a broken leg or whatever, you're going to need some medicine, real medicine. But if you have something that cannabis can do the same thing, if you have swelling in your body or swelling in a part, cannabis is a wonderful anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? If you're having anxiety instead of taking the Xanax.
Get on those indicas.
Cannabis is wonderful.
Drink a can.
Drink a can and get in those indicas.
And that's the whole thing about cannabis now. There's so many deliveries.
We're just chilling. We're just enjoying ourselves. You wouldn't even know.
You can take it in a transdermal patch. You can take it in a
you know.
So that's why the stigma is because everybody thinks it's Cheech and Chong and everybody smokes. That's not it.
That's not it.
And I know so many people that are professionals. That take edibles.
Yep.
In the morning and when they get home.
Exactly. You don't need to, and it's obviously consuming cannabis where you have it where it's a flower and you're using a joint. Yes, of course. There's always
combustibles. Breathing it in. That's
facts. Cool. But like how you just said, with the drinks, with the edibles, with the topicals, with the RSOs, there's so many Rick Simpson oil for you guys who don't know. You know, those kinds of things are out there that help and basically can elevate and be medicated for people, you know, so you be able to go about your daily functions. People need it for when they wake up. People need it for when they go to sleep. People need it just throughout their regular day, you know. So that's what's important here, I find, as being a product marketing manager for Little Beach Harvest. The most important thing when I find these products and when I outsource, I need to make sure that my community is actually going to benefit from that. And that's what we were talking about before when we were outside. It's basically like you could flood this place in with anything, right?
Yep.
You could bring
products everywhere.
but if it's not meticulously formatted to what is really going to help your people, then you're not doing. You know, you need to be able to have a pulse to the ground. You need to be able to talk to these people. You need to. I'm on the floor and I'm like, what do you like to do? What's your prescribed dose? Like, what is it that you need help with? You know, I want to know a little bit about yourself. That way I can help you, you know, because I want you to come back, but with a smile on your face. And I want you to come back and tell me if this worked for you or not, because we could do it.
Yeah.
We could find, because I'll find it for you. You tell me that this product works for you and we don't carry it, I'm going to find out if I can get this product for you.
Or something comparable to it.
You know what I mean? Little Beach Harvest makes it itself because that's what we're doing. We're creating our own infrastructure within entrepreneurs here on tribe, on territory. You know, we have satellite growers, Pashawn, Big Boy Budz. We have people who are doing the topicals, people who are doing the edibles. Yes, sir. Stony Shores, we got people who are doing the disposable, the carts, everything like that, you know?
You're creating your own ecosystem.
We're creating our own system.
And that's the way you're
keeping the money in the community.
And you're creating your own ecosystem. And in 10 years, man, you're going to have something that your kids and grandkids are going to look back on and be very proud of.
Generations,
you know, behind this plant that we were locked up for, we were killed behind, we're unjustly sentenced behind.
Shout out to Last Prisoner doing the work for a lot of the people out there. You know, so it's important. You know, we at least have. It's important, like having you yourself being a person who's known into this community, not only in the cannabis the cannabis community, but also within stardom, being someone who's known in the world. You know, it's important to have those kinds of people, though, like Montel and those people who we.
I was just on the phone with him.
We did a podcast with Montel.
Got the pleasure to be on his podcast.
Cool. So tell a shout out.
He's a good dude, right?
Great dude, man. Shout out to Montel,
and
Montel Williams. So it's important to really be connected with those people, and I like hearing that. Like, we're aligning ourselves with all the people with the right focus that's going into the right movement of this, and shout out to Zoe as well.
It's good people, man, that you want to work with, man, and particularly in this industry, because there are so many rascals in this industry.
Man,
but the whole thing is, like, this is for the people. And Montel says, man, like, if you go in a battlefield and whatever, and you see that white truck with that red cross, you're thinking about the patients. You're thinking about the patients. That's what cannabis is. Put the patients first. Whether people call it adult use, recreational use, or medicinal use, everybody's trying to feel better when they take this plant. Everybody's trying to feel better.
It's a weird line to say when you say, do you use it for recreational or medicinal? Because it's like, what's the difference? Like, if I'm using it to ail myself and to make my day easier, to help with, my daily activities, to just try to make my day better, then like, isn't that medicinal? Isn't that the point of recreational, being able to relax and just enjoy myself? Like, there's a huge stigma around it.
How do you like to kind of like use cannabis now? And during your time in the NFL, was there ever really like a moment where it became like, maybe I should look into cannabis and such, like from moving and being like, dealing with?
Not at the time.
Right. It came after.
Because I'm coming out of, reefer madness and the propaganda of just say no.
Yeah, true that.
And they were equating cannabis to like what it is, the Schedule 1 drug, to like LSD.
They were trying to really
heroin. You know what I'm saying? They were putting cannabis on that same level.
Yeah, exactly.
It took me about a decade after I retired to really know about it. And the reason why I learned about it was because I started out as a brand ambassador for this company, and they had a partnership with the government where they leased out that patent 6630507 that says CBD acts as an antioxidant and neuroprotectant for the brain. I'm like, wait a minute,
because you have a patent on this and you're not telling anybody? Like,
but the NFL at the time was going through the concussion stuff.
Right,
so I'm like, listen, no helmet, no shoes, no mouthpiece is going to stop a concussion.
Yeah,
it's not. It's going to stop an open head wound like a motorcycle helmet will, but it's not going to stop a concussion.
Stop that brain from rattling
around. It's going to come
around.
through science. And then once I did that and started diving into it and learning about our endocannabinoid system, and how the receptors that are in there and the receptors that we were born with,
they're naturally in the body,
and it naturally matches up with cannabis and having all these benefits.
Talk about it.
Scientific benefits.
Education is key, guys.
Education is the key.
It really is
key.
And that's what I tell people all the time. Education is the key, because we're sitting right here preaching to the choir.
Yeah. But it's good.
Go into town.
Yeah.
But you gotta educate these people.
People need to hear that.
It was a great thing about the doors being open here is how many people came in to learn. How many people came in, you know what I mean? To be like, hey, like, what's going on with this? Or I want to learn a little bit more about this. Like, the idea of this space being open for people to learn about cannabis and plant medicine and the medicinal side of it was a huge factor in this whole principle of this.
How did let me ask you this: what percentage of you guys are like the boomers, the old people? Do they come in here?
They come in here.
Our demographic is
check it out. Check it out. This, when we first opened, November 15th, 2023, right? 2023. We were in a rush open, right? Basically, let's just say that we were in a rush open. But as soon as we opened up the doors, our community showed up for us, which was great.
Great.
We were open for a solid week. I'm thinking, me being a younger person, I'm like, I can't wait to see all the people who look like me. You know what I mean? Coming in here.
Yeah.
Solid weekend. I'm just like looking. I'm like, okay, good. I like it. You know what I mean? Seeing the people come through, and I'm just like, they're pretty old. I like it though, because they're open to coming back in. I was like, okay, another one.
Just kept going steady.
Another one. And I'm like, all right, let me check the numbers.
My favorite,
real quick.
My favorite was coming downstairs one time, and there was a lady who came in with her walker, and she was greeted at the door, and she said, "Hey, like, this is new for me. I'm just looking to figure it out." And she walked up, and she sat her walker down. She sat right in her walker at the counter, and had a little conversation, and she left with a smile on her face, and just being like, "Yo, that is a lady." You know what I mean? An elder in the community here partaking.
You're getting a lot of the people who, during those eras that you were talking about, the boomer eras, and who used to smoke, right? Or didn't smoke because of what the stigma around it was. They're either coming back, and now they're knowing that we have this dispensary here, Little Beach Harvest, that is basically giving you lab tested. Nothing makes it in here if it's not lab tested. I make sure everything is securely tested head to toe. You know what I mean?
baby.
All paneled out. You know, we don't play games with y'all safety around here. But knowledgeable staff. You know, our staff is very educated on giving you that information, whether you want it or not. We're gonna give it to you regardless. Suck it up. And
You're coming for the
yeah, you're
experience.
coming for the experience, baby. Lock in. And then just being able to give them a safe place to do that. You know, it's really about changing that whole stigma around it. And if we could do it, whether they be 45, 90, we've had people 90 and up come here. You know, we've had it all. Not a lot, but we've had a good amount. You know, but now that we've been open for now this whole year and a quarter, right? Now we're starting to see our and who we've been doing things with. Our age bracket now has gone to the 21s, and now it's like it's everywhere. So like
it's
we
ranging
just have
for those repeat
a whole-
customers that are here
Now,
in the,
you got
in the
your regulars.
area.
Yeah,
you got
now
your
we got a
repeat
pulse, right? We have
Yeah.
a pulse on this area, and we're building. We're just gonna keep it going, and this is why I wanted to do Keeping Up with the Budz, because it educates them at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
do food episodes where it's teaching you how to combine both with cannabis and food.
Yeah.
You know, so the whole process of that and learning how to basically, you know, if you
Infusions.
don't want to smoke,
Oh, yeah.
Food
infuse food. If you don't want to smoke and you don't want to go through the whole going to a dispensary or whatever the case, teach you how to grow. We'll teach you how to then take that grow and then make concentrates from that grow. You know what I mean? And then teach you how to do it with your food. So it's all like a live and learn lesson here. And every single time, it's always trying to make sure that we're giving out that education step by step to someone. You know, it's important.
There's so many ways like this plant can have a positive impact on your life. And I rarely know about any negative one besides, you know, falling asleep or something like that.
Yeah. We're still looking for it. They trying to go to sleep.
Which they're looking for. But like, man, we haven't even taken the lid off of what this plant can do. Everybody knows about THC and CBD, the two main cannabinoids, but we get to 180 something other
CBN,
cannabinoids
CBG.
that we need to look at, you know, but we need that lid federally to be lifted off so we can get federal funding and we can get federal funded scientific research. And the thing is that a lot of people in this industry said, no, I don't want big tobacco in here or big alcohol in cannabis. I kind of do, because it's going to bring about billions of dollars of research. And we're really going to see what this plant can do. And I keep mentioning our kids and grandkids, well, our grandkids and their generation, they're going to look back at us and think like we were idiots because we had this plant this whole time. And we were popping pills.
Yep, the whole time. And that's honestly sadly enough what has happened with the U.S. You know, it's really become more
opioid epidemic was crazy.
More opioid.
It took a lot of people.
Aesthetic.
You know?
It's not over.
No, it's not. It's not.
And then the way that it affects also within the NFL, you know, is serious. If you had any advice though for newer NFL players like coming from college and that's going to deal with unfortunate injuries that happen, you know, is there any kind of advice that you would give them to help them?
I would tell them get a second opinion, number one, because they're going to give you the team doctor who's paid by the team.
That's paid by the team.
And so we're going to know where his loyalties lie.
Exactly.
And what have you. And get a second opinion and look at all options. And right now, in this era, look at some plant-based options.
Yeah.
You know,
it's there. It's available.
Even if you're not going to do THC, you can do CBD. You know, but look at that because, like, instead of chewing on 50, 100 milligrams of naproxen or indocin, these strong anti-inflammatories that you got to, you know, wash out through your kidneys and what have you, you can do the same thing with CBD or THC.
Yeah,
you know, and there's not going to be any lingering effects like, you know, if I'm going to nurse the injury with alcohol, I might drink 6 beers and come in the next day and be like, yeah, man, moving a little slow or whatever. I got to clear my head out, whatever. That doesn't happen with cannabis, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But there are a lot of professional athletes that use cannabis.
Yeah.
The league should embrace it.
Absolutely.
Making sure that it's getting prescribed, making sure it's the right strain for
Control.
whatever ails them.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
because hey, some guys it might be the stress of anxiety because you're stressed out about your position, you're stressed out at home, you
Right,
got to be a
yeah.
father, you got to be a
It's
ball
always
player, you got to
life.
be this, that, and the
Yeah,
other.
it's life.
People are,
Yeah.
athletes, but they're people too. You know what I mean? And I feel
They're
like that's definitely
people.
an aspect
They're definitely
that needs to
people.
be looked into. People is taking care of the wellness of your players, taking care of the wellness of the people. You know what I mean? And putting
You want your guys
first.
there.
Yeah.
You want because I always say the best ability athletes have is availability.
Mhm.
That's why they got rid of. That's why they got rid of Boza. He didn't play.
I know, man. I know.
Last 3 seasons.
I know.
But saying that, man,
Yeah.
it's just like, this plant, like, and the acceptance of it and getting legal in states happened in 2013 with Colorado and Oregon.
Yeah.
That's I always say,
Shout
and
out
this
to
is my
Colorado.
quote. This is like the Wright brothers taking off a Kitty Hawk,
Yeah.
and we're 10 years from that.
Yeah,
we haven't gone
yeah,
into the twin engine or jet age
jet.
or what have you.
Yeah.
And so the athlete and the kid that from the reservations that's going to take it off, they're probably in high school or junior high or elementary school right now.
Yeah.
You're being an example to somebody. You guys are giving some kid, you're giving him example, whether he's saying his mother's or whatever, and he said, oh, wow, or he passing by and looking at it and whatever. You don't know what he's dreaming about, but you're giving some kid inspiration. And the more you guys give back, man, you're going to motivate more kids. And like I said, in 20 years, 25 years, when we're in the jet age, there might be 10 kids from this reservation.
We have a saying.
There might be 10 athletes.
Yeah.
That 10 athletes because it's going to take it, mainstream and into the Midwest and into the living rooms in those bedrock communities and Iowa.
But it's the truth. You know what I mean? As we say, a Native American saying is the next 7 generations. You want to, whatever you're doing, you need to think 7 generations ahead and hope for that.
I've never heard that. That is so dope.
That's exactly what you're saying now. The next generations of us are who are going to be the people that pick up the baton and keep moving. You know what I mean? And we just want to be a great starting point. We want to give them the best opportunity and the best leg out as we can to try to get into this fight, because it is a fight for cannabis and a fight against that stigmatism. And it's going to take, people like you stepping into advocacy for cannabis, you know what I mean, into this space to try to change some things. So grateful for
7 generations. That's dope.
Yeah. I know you wanted to ask him about his fight with Sessions, right?
Yeah. So 2017, man, that's a huge case.
And the whole thing, let me say
And
this. If Eric Holder was at the office at that time, then it would have been him because it was against the DOJ.
Yeah.
So we had to name definitely Jeff Sessions as the main plaintiffs. And that was a fun case. We didn't get the resolution that we thought we would, but it went before the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
It was the first time a district judge, federal judge, acknowledged that cannabis had medicinal benefits.
Yeah, it was a huge
and when
kick
we went
in the
to
door.
the Supreme Court, amicus brief is like our friends and allies can write a brief for us and present it before the Supreme Court. And we got Hall of Famers, we got A-list movie actors, we got entertainers, and it brought this industry together because it was like, man, if we get it and the Supreme Court hears it, because they hear a limited amount of cases each year anyway. They didn't hear ours, but I felt like that pushed it down the road a little bit, man.
Yeah.
And we're still, I just think like, man, and I've always said this with cannabis is, it's going to happen slowly. And then it's going to happen all at once.
Once the floodgates open, it's really how it happens.
You better be ready.
You got to be ready, and you got to be at the forefront of it. And that's why,
with it potentially opening up, though, do you think that we'll have more acceptance within sports like basketball, sports, and things like that? Of course. It'll change.
It is. Because, listen, 10 years ago, they didn't accept gambling.
Right.
Yeah. That was the worst thing that could happen.
Most players
now they're running commercials.
And
bet on me.
But now players hate it. The only players that I think don't hate it is like LeBron, because he gets like DraftKings and stuff like that. But you'll see a lot of players write in like on their stories and stuff. They'd be like, this MF writing to me about his parlay.
I'm trying to win the game.
Worried about your
That's
parlay.
why, you know what? That's why I can't do it, man, because I don't want to be hating the guy.
Yeah, for real, bro.
So many people
lie to you.
You see it in fantasy football all the time. It's like,
yeah.
got root for a guy
Yeah.
going against the team. It's like,
Yeah.
I need him to score these points, though. I need these points.
I'm
If
conflicted.
anybody's going to score, it better be
That's
him.
how it is, because that's why I had to kind of chill on that, man, because I found myself just disliking players. Like, man, he killed my team.
Yo, facts, bro.
Or he'd be on my team,
You
I'd be
just
like,
leave this down if you want.
that guy didn't even give me points. He ain't no points this week.
It's not his fault. He ain't get no play time. Just put him in the game. Come score.
You the running back.
Now I gotta trade you.
I'm quick with that. I'm quick with trading somebody.
Yeah, but that's the fun of it. But like I said, man, getting back to center a little bit is that if it's accepted on the federal level, then the leagues will have no more excuse, and they will start doing everything as far as throwing money behind it, more money behind it. They'll start accepting it in with their players, knowing that their players are using it, and making sure that their team doctors and trainers know about cannabis, know about the different strains, know about the different deliveries, and what works best for pain, what works for concussion, what works for everything.
And that opens up a whole new door when you professionalize it like that and you open it up. That's education. You know what I mean? That's more school programs. That's more, you know what I mean? That's more job positions. That's more specializations.
Yeah.
Like I went to SUNY Delhi, upstate New York, and they offer cannabis courses now and culinary and you know, and in business management. It's starting to become part of the fold.
Shout out to Delhi.
Shout out SUNY Delhi. Love y'all, Broncos.
There you go.
So the more that, you know, this becomes more mainstream, the more that we have people advocating, people like I said, such as yourself, those other, you know, celebrities and names, they normalize it. You break down that stigma. You show that there's a professionalism that comes with
the
cannabis.
Involvement.
There's, you know, an activity that comes with it, and there's a community based around it. You know what I mean? And
the innovation
that
and involvement.
the community needs to be in the light. You know,
for
There's
sure.
going to be cannabis commercials.
Yeah.
There's going to be cannabis commercials and what have you.
I've been writing them as we go now, just in preparation for what's going to happen. Like, it is what it is.
Gonna, man, I think it's going to happen sooner than anybody thinks.
Yeah.
You know, because I think we have the momentum now. I think the states, the 37 states that have adult use or medicinal, I don't think like the things that they were saying was going to happen. Oh, kids are going to be using it. Crime's going to go up.
Yeah, nothing happened.
It's going to bring down.
The only thing that happened was
free shops got broken into.
But it's been a long enough period to say, like, cannabis is a net positive.
Yeah.
You know, Governor
100%,
Murphy's
legit.
over there raising the taxes because he wants better roads and better schools.
Especially in New York, man. And New York is booming right now over the course. It's made so much money off of
And they're shutting down the legal dispensaries. They're shutting them down. And now so when it first went off, you go to New York.
Every bodega was selling
Fifth Avenue. They got a dispensary on Fifth Avenue.
Weed World.
And every smoke shop in Manhattan became a dispensary overnight. Overnight. And it was like, because they knew, like, hey, man, like, listen, there's 1,000 cuts. New York can't cover up all of them.
It really was. The crazy thing about it was New York rolled out, you know what I mean, its cannabis plan. And they didn't open up any dispensaries, but yet they gave out licenses for growing. They gave out licenses for cultivation. All this, and it was like, where are we supposed to channel all this product through? Where are we supposed to do all this through? And then, like you said, all the bodegas in the city, every corner store in the city was selling bud. Everyone was doing this. Now you got to spend all these tax dollars to crack down on all these illegal bodegas when you should have just been giving out licenses for dispensaries and people were trying to do it from the beginning.
They got that wrong, but
it was a rush. It was a bit of a rush, but they're cleaning it up now, and I think that it's allowing for the people who did it the right way to get their shine and their opportunity. And personally, I can't wait to head into the city and find some dispensaries. So if you see us, remember my face when you see me in your stores. Shout out. Keep it. You know,
I know to only give me your finest product, because I ain't gonna lie. New York, y'all.
Don't talk about their bud. Don't talk about their bud.
But you know what?
Let's just say it's not Little Beach Harvest. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's not.
It's not Little Beach Harvest.
Let me say this, man. Like, New York City, I've always said, like if they get it right, New York City is going to be the cannabis capital of the world.
It could, yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
With the
could
5
be.
boroughs,
Come
whatever, and now it's in the Atlantic states
Yeah,
where the where the
definitely.
population is.
Yeah, for sure.
Man,
It's solid.
the population, but New York City can be the capital because of the people, and it happens here, man.
Business
It's gonna
happens
be
in New
popping.
York.
happen. It's
It's popping, man, and I'm happy that like you guys are out here doing your thing, man.
We're gonna continue to grind, and we're gonna
and I don't know
continue
if
to build.
any of you guys have been to the dispensary, Little Beach dispensary, Harvest out here, man. But it's a wonderful dispensary with educated bud tenders, variety of products to get, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
if you're out here for the summer in the Hampton or Montauk, going fishing or whatever, stop by here. It's right off of Montauk Highway.
Catch that reel back over here, get a deal. So, my last questions really are basically, what do you have cooking up right now within the cannabis world, and kind of innovations? What are you trying to do?
You know, I always say that there's 3 legs to my chair. You know,
Right.
being an activist, advocate, and entrepreneur. And those 3 things are kicking off. But the advocate, so I'm with a company called Leafwell, and it's Canacare, telemedicine. And the thing that we're the only one in the industry that does this is we hook the patient up with the doctor, and then they can go to the dispensary, and it's all discounted, or through insurance.
Okay.
That process, and then they go to the dispensary and get maybe a little discount or what have you. Because one of the things I like about you said, I'm making sure I'm educating, I'm finding it for the people.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into send my mother or send my sister into a dispensary, and there's a 19-year-old girl called Moon Pie, a bud tender called Moon Pie. So what Leafwell does is they hook you up with the doctor, and they give you a particular strain for whatever your indication is, whether it's pain, whether it's anxiety, whether it's sleeplessness, whether it's lack of energy, and what have you. And we're trying to get to do it through insurance. And it even added on as an enhanced employee benefit. So we're talking to labor unions, we're talking to school districts, we're talking to municipalities, and of course we're talking to sports organizations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they have to embrace this.
They got to embrace it.
That's what I'm doing
playing.
as far as on the business side, because I'm really pushing that because I think it's normalizing the plant. But on an activist side, man, I'm having conversations with people that have access to people at the highest level of our government. And this to me is a bipartisan issue.
Yes, sir.
It's not red, it's not blue, it's not black, it's not white, brown, whatever. Yeah. This is something that's straight down the middle, that is for the people.
Absolutely.
And it can be by the people, but we have to get, one of the things I want to do is get all our cannabis prisoners out of prison. Get them out, non-violent. Now, if you have to do some crazy shit,
you murk like 6 people to get somebody,
you gotta be held accountable.
You might want to stay in there, but saying that
non-violent criminal drug charges,
get them out. But then we want federal banking.
Yes, 100%.
We need federal banking and interstate commerce.
It makes it so much more.
Interstate commerce
because
would be
interstate
huge.
commerce. So go ahead and do all that and tax us and regulate us just like you do alcohol, just like you do tobacco. You know, and we're trying to get that done. I think it can get done, and it's not a matter of if, guys. I'm telling you, it's a matter of when. And then we are going to be on an emerging market that, man, I'm just telling you, it's going to dominate. It's going to dominate. It's going to bypass. It's already bypassing alcohol sales, tobacco sales.
It is
gambling. Nothing's going to be able to touch this plant, because at the end of the day, it's medicine, and nobody is sitting at home just smoking, trying to get high and laugh. No, they're trying to feel better. Everybody's trying to feel better. Whether you're smoking in the morning, whether you're smoking at night, where you take a midday break because of your stress or whatever. Everybody's trying to feel better, man. And man, this thing is going to explode, man. And I'm so happy that you guys invited me out here, man, and seeing what you guys are doing here on the reservation, because you guys are going to be innovators, thought leaders for your reservation and for your people, man. And I'm happy to see it, man. And I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it.
Sending you nothing but positive energy.
Appreciate
and
that.
let's go get some Shinnecock tacos.
Is there any shout outs that you want to do? Anybody where they let everybody know where they can find you, see
you
about
can
these
find
projects?
me at leafwell.com. I'm on Blue Sky as Marvin Wash. I'm on IG as Marvin Wash. And then, just look for Leafwell because they're going to be making some noise. You're going to hear about us. And if you need any information, just go to leafwell.com. There's plenty of information on there and research on there to tell you scientifically what this plant can do, what it will do, and the effect that it has even on the workforce or large body of people. That's where you can find me. Or if you got a speaking engagement for me, let me know.
Yes, sir. I heard it first. You know what I'm talking about. So once again, everybody, I want to thank everybody, all of y'all buds, man, all of y'all for checking out this episode of Keeping Up with the Buds. We're going to be continuously doing things that's going to support and bring light to cannabis and the people who are surrounded around it and the people who are advocating for it, you know, along with Sean and I. Mr. Marvin Washington over here. You know, we're going to keep this thing going, going to keep it vibing. Check us out at Little Beach Harvest. That's on IG, all one word. Check us out on Facebook, Little Beach Harvest Dispensary. And if you want to check out our products, come on now, the products. You know, if you want to get yourself a can, if you want to get yourself some of this fine chiba, you feel? Or some little Beach Bite gummies. We got the 10s, we got the 50s. We even got some hash rosin, vapes, pens,
topicals,
gummies, whatever you need, man.
What I'm talking
we got
about.
all that shit
That's
for
a
you.
full
You feel
service
me?
dispensary.
We got it all for you. Whatever you need, you feel me? So check us out at littlebeachharvest.org. All right? littlebeachharvest.org. Check us out and stay tuned for the next episode of Keeping Up with the Buds, y'all. Peace.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.